ready for number 24.
Yeah. And
Well, 26 is half a year. So we're 2 away from doing this for half a year. I'm not going to use those.
Nah. Need some.
Yeah.
We've got some things to talk about as we get ready for our 24th episode because it's going to look quite a bit different. So maybe what I'll do is just start out with we've been
talking about this a long time, really. So it's not something. It's not a brainstorming thing that just happened a few weeks ago or something. This has been in the cooker for quite a long time.
Yeah, we've been wanting to have our podcast be laid back, stuff like that, and it is. And we also talk about voiceover stuff, but we've decided to kind of veer in 2 different directions. We're still going to, produce our voiceover stuff, but they're going to be their own separate videos, part of a different playlist. And then our podcast is going to be stuff that we do, whether it's taste testing, local interviews, local stuff happening in the community, what we see site-wise.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff like that. Yeah. That we just want
history, those types of things.
to have a little bit more time just to talk and for people to listen to us and stuff. So that's for people to listen to us. Well, that's self-serving. But for people to listen to us. Anyway, that's what not that we're trying to kick out the voiceover stuff, but we just think that there might be people that want to watch the voiceover stuff by itself. And there might be people that want to watch just us by themselves. And if there's people that want to watch both, well, then they can get to both of it. But we just didn't want people to, come for the voiceover stuff and then leave. Whatever, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Or people that maybe are interested in the local stuff more to kind of show up to our podcast and be like, oh, I thought this was going to be local. And it somewhat is. But they might not be interested in the voiceover realm of things. So that's why we're changing it up. We're going to have 3 segments as always. It's going to be kind of what's happening in the Mazo area. Also kind of what's happening at our high school, middle school, and now grade school, elementary school together. Sports, all sorts of things. And then we're going to have our taste tests from time to time. We're
going to have some stuff right over here in my goodie bag over there. Yep, right across the wall.
Local interviews. And then just kind of enjoyable stuff that we like to do. So yeah, you can find those. We'll have some new playlists created for the voiceover stuff. And if you want to watch both, you can. But we just didn't want people showing up for some of it or people being turned off by like, oh, I thought this was this, but it's not. And then having to scroll, which isn't like such a big deal. But we had been talking ease of use,
customer centric. We want that to be our mantra. Ease of use, customer centric. That's us.
Yeah, so it's going to be even more laid back than it was before. So we'll always be doing our numbers. We'll always be doing Todd's tips. We will be doing interviews with certain voiceover people, whether it's the voiceover people themselves who create voiceovers like us, who are the voiceover artists, or maybe we've talked about also getting people who hire voiceover
video
people.
production companies, ad agencies, agents,
stuff like that.
Talent
so that
rosters.
Other people can see that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our plan. Hopefully that's good with everybody else. And if it's not, I guess that's the way we're going. So train's going.
Hop on. If
you don't want to, don't get run over.
And they can also, people can also feedback either way. Hey, I really like the direction, or boy, I wish we could have this back, or I wish we could have this.
Yeah.
Our ears are always open.
They're wide open
to our listeners.
And this train is leaving. And we're going to 50 subscribers. That's where the end up is. That's where we're ending up. So
right now we're at 42.
We're at 42. Yep. So
never know where the sky's the limit. 50
is the limit.
Subscribers.
Yeah. Anyway, well, do you want to get into our
24th
episode?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hey, this is Bill DeWeese, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
so everybody's tuned in on what we're going to be doing. Oh, wait.
Start that. You're already
Okay.
behind.
Hey. Okay, listen.
About 12 seconds behind.
Okay, listen now. We're already tuned in as Hudson gets this set up.
Okay.
Because the people that are watching have already heard what we're going to do, so we don't need to go over that, just so you know.
Yeah.
But one of the things I want to highlight is I purchased a clock, and the clock is to keep us on track. And it's over there. Maybe Damon can get a picture of it and show it right there. And what it is we go in 30-minute segments. And so we bought a clock, and I just have this handy little remote that now I start it. And so we're almost a minute in, so we've got to go, right, Hudson?
No, whatever. I mean,
And the first time that you tried it, you were behind.
Right.
But you're getting used to it.
Now you guys, you don't have to look so much, Johnny, but the rest of us need to keep an eye. And when we get to like 27 minutes, some of you who are long-winded need to make sure
Some of us who are long-winded.
that you're winding down on your long stories.
Okay.
Interesting stories.
Okay.
and like last week, Joe he's working for the podcast. He seems During to the put that pat- up right to the very end, but there's what he's doing is
No,
Some
what
of us
happened,
like doing
what happened this
homework.
time
It's like
I
doing
did
homework
it.
in class.
I did it and forgot it at home. So
Some of us come prepared.
Do I sound off mic right now?
no, you sound like you're right on top of it.
Joe's
Is
a little
there-
loud, but
There's no
it's
presence.
not very common.
Is there presence to my voice?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So-
a present.
All right. Well, welcome to the 24th episode of the original Father-Son voiceover podcast. As you can see, things are a little bit different. We did our Todd's tips, our numbers, and we'll probably have a voiceover voiceover-related interview at some point. So check those out. But right now we've got our what's happening right now site-wise.
Okay.
And then we've also got Joe.
Wisconsin Heights Weekly.
Okay.
But site-wise, aren't we going to play that
Yes.
Andy
so
Griffith?
So first we'll start out with Joe's. What's the events that are coming up,
That's okay.
and then
great.
we'll do site-wise.
I don't
And
know.
that'll-
Is Joe prepared?
I'm ready.
Looks like it.
Yeah. You're doing his last couple minute research pieces here.
So, the volleyball team this week is on a 2-game winning streak.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
They beat Cambridge
Joe,
3-0.
Joe, take your thing over here so can you read it that way?
Sure.
So you're not like this.
Going back and forth.
Thank you.
And then they
better.
beat
Oh,
Belleville
kind of loud.
3-2.
Let's try to be professional, Joe.
Okay. Their next game is Tuesday, September 13th.
Be there. Is it at home or away?
It is at home
It's at home.
against Marshall. And then the soccer team lost this week to the Dells
Oh, well, that's a pretty big school.
Buzzsaw.
5-0.
Oh,
Tough.
wow.
So that brings their record to 1-3-1.
Or 5-0.
Our friend,
5-0.
our friend Austin Stevenson is one guy that's on the team. He's playing on the team.
Freshman.
Yeah.
On the
Varsity.
Better be.
And lastly, the football team played last night and lost to Abundant Life, 26-14.
Tough.
Sean went there and said that they fumbled quite a bit.
Abundant fumbles.
Yep.
Abundant Life wasn't abundant in fumbles. We were abundant.
Heights was.
Heights was abundant in fumbles.
Yeah.
Yep. And now that brings their record to 1-1.
500. Okay.
And
That's
they
one of
play.
the first. That's one of the first times that they've lost in a while.
Yeah.
Because Deshaun's season that he played
2 years ago.
2 years ago, he they didn't lose a game.
Correct.
And there was only one game that they were close to losing. The rest of them were.
It was their
blowouts.
first game.
It was their first game.
Yeah. The Oak Ridge boys.
and they can't play in the playoffs, which is like beyond me.
Yeah.
Because think about this. They're like 15 students over the limit.
Yeah.
Come on, 8-man
They're
football.
they're too
when
big.
I was in high school, there was like 500 difference in people because they didn't have as many classes or divisions. It's like, come on, 15 students. That's going to make a difference. That's going to keep you out of the playoffs. We need to start a movement.
We're
Petition.
We
petitioning
need to,
right now.
We need to get
Wisconsin
to hold of the
Heights.
WIAA, and we need to get them into the playoffs.
Enough's
Joe, why
enough.
don't you be on that?
Okay, I will. Start
Start a
But
petition for us.
You can't
Partition.
start the petition right when you
Partition.
get. No, you can't start the petition right when you get. Because I'm trying to talk. You can't start the petition right when you get to the meeting. You can't just start writing it down. Start writing it when you get there. Like,
I can petition for the petition.
Okay.
what is
What
that?
else you got there?
And the last thing is that they play this Thursday at
Football
6
team.
p.m. The football team does
Okay.
at DeSoto.
Okay.
So
Ooh, that's a little bit of a hike, isn't it?
That's right by the river.
Oh,
Well, fairly close to the river. DeSoto is. Yep.
And coming up, not that I'm trying to steal your thunder, Joe,
The Mississippi River.
Mississippi.
but coming up, a big event. I
Big
don't know if
event.
you've seen this. It's the dedication of the one campus on September 30th.
Oh.
I think that's
September 30th.
homecoming.
Dedication
Wisconsin
of the one
Heights.
campus of Wisconsin Heights. Everybody under one roof. Big
news for
celebration
us.
or whatever, depending on how you voted for the increase in
The referendum.
taxes and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't bring up that because that could become a sore subject, and we want this
We
to
could
be
be,
a
yeah.
positive experience.
We don't want to be.
No
we don't want to
controversy.
be choosing up sides
No,
here.
no. So,
So
thank
that
you for bringing that.
concludes
Yeah.
Wisconsin Weekly.
Wow.
Hike
That's kind of that's kind of more of a sports centric.
Yeah.
Also,
That's all they have right now.
also
going
it
on.
is.
Oh, they're
and
not
I don't
school?
want to step on Johnny's toes.
Yeah, you will.
But it is.
You were going to.
It is. It is Wild West Days weekend.
Yep.
So
Do I have my pin over there?
He's got it on.
I showed it
Oh,
to
good,
the,
good, good, good.
I showed it to the
Can everybody
camera
see that?
earlier.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Uh-huh.
That's
is it?
1996.
Yeah.
That was the year that Hudson
Husband
was
was
born.
Yeah, we went around, I believe, so Jeff was on the podcast,
Yasik.
Yasik
Yes,
and
yep.
Mel, and they did some fundraising stuff back around that time, and one of them was to sell these pins. So we went around, Danny and I, and sold some stuff.
Those exact pins?
I
Do
believe
you
so.
remember that?
Back in
I,
'96.
well, I remember doing that. I believe these
Wow.
were we did pins. It might not have been 96, but this brought back to memory. We went around Appleby Circle, which is just stone's throw away from here, a little, I don't know,
cul-de-sac kind of
cul-de-sac
thing.
kind of thing, yeah. And then we went around town selling pins to raise some money for the
I
Wild West days.
I didn't remember that.
How much were you selling those dogs for?
I don't remember.
I think
10
That's an
cents.
antique though, because an antique is 20 years old or older. Right?
It may have been more
True.
than you think,
And I'm
just because it was
26.
a whole
But that's not
buy-in.
20.
I'm 26 years
That's
old.
not 20 years old yet.
Yeah, it
So it's
is.
not an antique.
Okay.
What?
It's got to be.
I'm 26, Joe.
1996.
No, that's not an antique.
I'm an antique.
No, yeah, it's an antique.
I'm
It's
26 years old.
26 years
That's
old.
what I said.
And hey, just so you know, I have a coin box of old coins and dollar
yeah.
bills. I'm not going to tell where it is because, boy, it's really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have another Wild West Day pin, a real small one in there. I was going to have. I wish I had it in front of me right now.
So you forgot where that box was, probably.
Maybe no, I know exactly where it is. But maybe after our first break,
Oh, sure.
I'll look for it real quickly and then
Look for it.
because
look
I don't
for
want
it.
to go off camera right now.
Let me
That's
see.
too
That's what you're
important
going to
to
ask
the
the
podcast.
box is to let you see
What
where it's
do
at.
you remember the very first Wild West days? What year it was?
I was trying to find that on their website.
It's
I was
not
trying
as
to find
old as
the-
you think.
50
like it's,
years was a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
It's maybe it's
maybe
under 60
2000,
years
yeah.
old. But as long as I can remember, because I'm 62 and it's maybe 55 or 50. So as long as I can remember, there's been a Wild West days. And, you know, people think that Labor Day is kind of the end of summer. And you think about, oh, I got to go back to school and all the vacation and summer holiday off of school and different things, travel. But for me, it was always like, okay, Labor Day's over, no more swimming pool and stuff like that. But we've got Wild West Days, yet, which
Last
is the
hurrah.
second weekend of the month. And so you could kind of hang on to summer just a little bit longer. And that's happening right now as we record, is Wild West Days. And that was like, honestly, it was kind of depressing after that because you knew you were in school for the long haul now.
Yeah.
And it was going to be what? Thanksgiving before you got a couple of days off and then Christmas. Whew. Anyway, that's what Wild West Days
We
meant
would
to
go
me.
down. We would go down with all the cousins and stuff back when we were really young, and we'd get some money to go on rides and play games and all sorts of stuff. I remember
Kind of
one.
like the carnival.
Yep, the carnival, Wild West Days. I remember one year, I took all my money, and I cashed it in for those tokens that you could have. That you could play that dump
Bulldozer
truck
game?
bulldozer game where we would
coins.
push the coins.
That's a great
And I
game.
spent probably 2+ hours on those games. And, I think we got maybe like $10. And so it's a lot of it's a lot of those coins that you get to trade them in for. And I felt like I had gotten a lot, but I probably had less than $10 worth.
Oh yeah.
After the end of the night, because you're basically gambling.
Teaching us young.
But that was a memory of mine. I really enjoyed playing that game. I wonder if they still have it. If they still have it, I might go down this
I think
weekend.
they may. I'm not sure. I went there last year to play bags in the beanbag game tournament. There we go.
A lot smarter, a lot wiser now. Maybe I could find a way to beat the game.
I would say this, Drew. If you're still thinking that that's a good use of your money, then I'm not sure about that, because it's a little bit like the lottery or like going to like a casino. There's a reason they build those big buildings and then they can afford to give away food and stuff like that. It's because people
They're making
are
money.
losing more than they're winning. Right?
The house never loses.
Right. And so there's a reason that at the carnival they still continue to have that game.
Yeah.
Because they make a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
But it is fun, isn't it? It's kind of because then once in a while you do hit the jackpot.
Yeah, we'd also play the ring game on the soda pops. That would be fun. Soda pops, that's really old. On the pops, the 20
Tops
ounces
of
or whatever,
pop.
and you throw it and you try to get it on there. That seemed like that was always rigged because I could never get one. And then
Might be.
and then the ping pong into the goldfish things. I remember a couple times you guys came over, you adults came over when some of us were playing that, and I think you were kind of nixing us, hoping that we didn't win a goldfish.
Exactly.
Or there was, I think
would
there
die
was
3 days later.
Right. I think there was also a game for like, do you remember this, John? For rabbits or bunnies?
I feel like
Didn't
there
you
was
win a
something
bunny or
around.
something
I
like
feel
that?
They were around. I don't
I felt
remember.
like you could,
Yeah, something like that.
maybe you could just pet them.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
thought you could win them.
There's also a game that had like a board that was slanted a certain way, and then they had a laundry basket that was hanging out a certain amount, and you had to throw a ball and kind of get it to go into that off of that angle, and I think the angle was impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cheaters over there. That's what they are. They're
Well,
trying to-
the odds are stacked far against you.
Yeah.
Hey, John, wasn't your favorite ride the Go-Go Gator?
Yeah.
that was my favorite too.
Many tears were shed on that thing.
The Go Gator.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was tough back then, wasn't it?
Wasn't easy.
I like the tilt-a-whirl. I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The tilt-a-whirl is kind of awkward because, you get in there in the tilt-a-whirl and you're with your buddy and all of a sudden you're sitting on each other's lap or you're with a friend and it's like it's almost too close for comfort.
Yeah.
Because you just get slid right over to one spot and then up to the other.
I
Already do.
I don't think they had any seatbelts when I was going down
Or
there.
if they
That's
did,
just that bar that they
did, they had like the ones that were just so big.
Yeah,
It was like who's ever gonna fit into this?
That's true.
kids are bouncing around.
Yeah.
Did you have to be even when I was a kid, I don't think they had a size or
I don't think
weight,
they had-
a
As
height
long
or
as you
weight
had
thing
both arms and both legs, I think you were good.
for at least getting on the ride.
Yeah, those guys were, anyway.
Yeah.
All right, well, should we do Mazomania as we see it?
You took a lot of that. I knew
Site-wise?
you were going to do that.
You mean slat-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, let me say,
Well, when you started talking, I knew that was going to be what you were going to
Well,
say.
tell us what you've got then.
Well, I had the Wild West days.
Tough.
Well, what did you see? What did you see down there?
I saw that there aren't as many rides. I think that's been that way for a while now. They're really kind of more geared towards, like you said, the tournaments and then the beer tent and some other activities. I don't remember them. Did they always do fireworks down there?
When
'Cause
I was
now they
growing
do.
up,
They did them last
it
night.
has to be in the last just few years, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because never.
Yeah. Yeah,
when I was growing
I didn't
up.
see the Paratrooper, which was kind of a higher swing-like ride. I didn't see the Strawberry, which is where you could get in these strawberry cart-like things, and there was a table or like a wheel or whatever in front of you, and you could turn it as fast as you wanted to, and it just spin you. I didn't see the Tilt-A-Whirl down there, so there's a lot of the rocket or the
bullet.
The bullet, yes, the bullet.
What
that would
about
go down around.
there's no Ferris wheel?
There's a Ferris wheel.
There is a Ferris wheel.
Yep.
Not a very big one.
Not a very big one, no.
Okay.
So
My cousin Dennis would always, when I was a kid, I didn't like heights, and he'd always say, "Toddy, let's go on. I promise I won't rock it this year when we get to the top. Rock the baskets that you're in, that cart. And every single time we get to the top, and they pause. They go up, let people on, keep letting them up till you get to the top, and then they start swinging you around. And we were always right at the top. And what would Dennis do? He would start swinging.
Don't rock the boat.
And I would punch him.
Which would only make it swing more.
Right, which would make it swing more. And I wasn't punching him hard enough because I was afraid that we'd go over. So I wasn't giving it my full force. And he'd laugh and think that was so funny. And I would say, never again. And then the next year he'd coax me into doing it again. Same with his motorcycle rides. Anyway, that's dinner for you.
Yeah. So there's that Wild West Days, and the people that put it together, they do a nice job. And I just wanted to mention their names, I guess.
Wow.
So
Shout out.
Boom.
Derek Childs.
Oh,
Nice.
Derek.
He's a few years older than I am.
Yep.
Thanks, Derek.
Heights alumnus.
Alumnus. Natalie Beal.
Heights alumnus.
Heights alumnus. And she owns B-Style Floral. And then Corey Dewar.
Oh,
That's Deshaun works with him at B&B Laminates.
Oh yeah,
Corey Dewar.
that's Brent's son and Scott Dewar's younger brother. Hey, speaking of, and this is something that if we have a few minutes after this, if you're run out of material,
Not yet.
I personally would like to talk through who I'd like to the people that watch this, put some pressure on the people. We want to get some certain people on the podcast by popular demand. Natalie Beal would be one. She's a local person, a Heights grad, lived in the area.
Does a
I
lot
think
of
all of
things
her life,
around.
basically
She
life.
does a
She
lot
does
of-
B-Style. Yeah.
Yep. She does a lot of stuff that goes kind of under the radar, but she's, from what I remember when I talked to her the last time, she's pretty involved in the inner workings of Mazo activities.
So Natalie, if you or somebody that knows Natalie are watching this, just tell her that.
Put a bug in her ear.
Get a hold of the Father Son podcast, and we'll have you on. We can talk about B-Style. We can talk about, your growing up years, things like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Who else?
Sarah Morrow is the secretary, and then the treasurer is Chris Larson. This is of the Wild West Days Association. There's other people on a committee. Natalie's on the committee as well. I'm not exactly sure how that all
Plays out.
But the top 5 people that are kind of, it seems like, responsible or for helping get it going. I mentioned their names. The committee, we thank you as well for your hard work.
Fab Five there.
And here's the thing. I don't want to be part of that committee
No.
because I know it's a lot of work and I know people complain about it. And you know what I think about Wild West Days? Greatest show on earth. Why? Because I don't have to do anything and I can still enjoy it. So thank you for that. And people that complain about it, sorry, get on the committee then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do your part then. You can do the change. I'm not going to complain about it because it's like it's something free. I don't have to do anything for it.
Yeah.
And it helps Mazomania.
They've also
there you go.
They've also got live bands that come down to play. That's what it was last year. They have a live band or
Beer tent.
multiple in the beer tent.
Cornhole tournament.
Yep.
Kickball? They have
Kickball
kickball?
tournaments
Kickball
today,
tournament.
stuff like that. Yep.
Yes,
Bring a carnival to town. They have a parade.
Yeah.
Jeff Yasik is going to be in the parade, our Hall of Famer, fan Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Getting there here.
Anything else that you saw site-wise?
Yes. I will just, so Friday night was a concert. Beanbag Tourney was last night. Fireworks. Then the kickball tourneys today. A petting zoo at 1 p.m.
Oh, nice.
Kids tractor pull at 1 as well. Horseshoe tourney at 1 as well. Tough trucks at 3. More fireworks, supposedly,
Wow.
What?
at dusk. Yeah, we just have... We're
having
great.
4th of July
More live
4
music,
times over.
and then kind of the same minus the fireworks. There's going to be kind of the same, the petting zoo and all that kind of stuff tomorrow as well.
Wow.
So
I sure hope the rain doesn't.
Rain, go away.
Because we're supposed to get rain, and I know this podcast is coming out on Tuesday, the Tuesday after Wild West Days. But
yeah, be nice to hope if it held off. So a couple quick hitters. So usually sometime in June is the time that Mazo does their citywide garage sailing. But there are people that are doing garage sales this weekend. So it's a good time because there's more people in town. And
This weekend right now or next weekend?
Nope,
this weekend.
Sorry, it would be the
Because
weekend.
This is when you get the people in.
Yeah, so this is obviously going out this
it.
next Tuesday, the podcast. But so it would be this last weekend then if you're listening this Tuesday.
But
That over there.
Sure.
Yeah, just for what is going on in Mazo. For right now, there are garage sales going on.
I think the thinking is with that is that you've already had people for locally that have come in and said, okay, I've looked through your stuff and I don't want any of that. But then there are those people that out of towners that come in and they say, hey,
Good point.
I might want some of that stuff.
Another man's trash is another man's treasure.
Put it out there.
That's what they say.
And this is different, but the Dollar General is now open again. I'm not saying that our podcast put any pressure on them too.
you're also not saying
I'm
that.
actually not saying that. I mean, we covered it.
So what
in
are you
depth.
saying?
I'm
Breaking
just saying
news.
it's back open, but it opened fairly soon after. At least we taped the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I'm wondering if we had
I
something to
would
do
almost
with it.
think that.
I would guarantee it.
For any
Oh,
out
actually-
of towners though that are watching this,
Yeah.
They might be fooled into thinking that Wild West Days is this coming weekend. When we're talking,
Yeah.
this is old news.
Yeah, true.
And
they're
they're
gonna
gonna be
be
watching
covering
this and be like, oh,
This comes
there.
out the Tuesday after
Yeah.
Wild West Days. So don't think it's
Well, we
coming
hope
up.
you all
We're
had a good
talking up
time.
Wild
We all had a
West
good time
Days.
at Wild West Days,
Yeah.
and we thank those people who put
Exactly.
it together. That's the
what-
point.
That's the
what
big
sticks.
thing. Yep.
And, and thanks to those people, we'll probably have a Wild West Days in 2023.
Yeah.
True.
Yep. And then this is just for our debate. I went over to BJ's.
BJ Ruland.
Yep, BJ
guest
Ruland.
of
Willie's
the original
Ruland.
Willie Ruland. Yep.
Father-Son podcast.
He was quite busy this week, including a couple vehicles of ours. I had new brakes put in for my.
Put them down. Put down the old brakes. You put down the old
I
brakes.
had an issue with my brake pad, so I had him do that. And then
had an
Joe
oil
had an
change.
oil change. So we.
And then we had to lug some field equipment.
Yeah, over
Baseball
was
field
very
equipment
heavy.
over
Yeah,
there,
for Dan.
which is
And
O'Connell.
almost did a number on my truck.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
difficult.
Yep. Anyway, he was saying that you guys just look so crowded on that couch, and he said we need to get a bigger couch. Or he was saying that maybe if somebody kind of does something bad throughout
Gets
the
you
week,
in the doghouse.
gets you in the doghouse.
We'll have the doghouse over
That's
here.
that's
Kind of the doghouse seat,
the
I
penalty
guess.
box.
So I didn't know about this. I said we'll have to talk about that to BJ. But it sounds like maybe this is in the works. This chair over here that we could maybe spread out a little bit more, make it look a little bit more
You know what we
comfortable.
should
He was
do?
just it seemed like he was concerned about our comfort.
Dad mainly
which is a
looks
great
like he's
thing.
crammed.
You know
I
what we
think.
should do? You know what we should do? We should have a seat over there in the corner where that used to be. This is going to be Joe's informational desk once
Yeah.
So then there'll only be two people sitting here. But if somebody does something that gets in the penalty box,
Okay.
they got to sit over there and they get a microphone, but they don't get any camera. So there's just going to be
I
a
think
voice.
that was what BJ
they're going to
was
be
kind of thinking
they're
as
gonna
well.
feel like they're off. They're going to feel like they're going to be off camera.
Yeah.
So
So that's up for debate. People can comment about that. I mean, I think we've already got kind of something. Maybe we would name the chair. I don't know what it would be that people are
Joe's
seeing
the
over there.
concierge over there. That's what
Yeah.
he is.
Okay. So that we did talk about having him off camera at some point with, or at
but
least
he'll probably be
I think
on
he could
over
be on
here.
camera.
Yeah,
Be
that's
on
what
camera.
we're
We just need to get another
I talked
microphone.
about- yep.
Yeah,
we
that's
just need to get a
basically what
microphone.
we
That's what
have
I've
to
been
figure
pushing
out how to
for.
We're
get.
figuring things
Two
out here.
microphones.
Is that all you
That's
had
it.
sideways?
That's all I've got site-wise.
That's all we saw this week.
Yep.
You have one thing there?
Yeah.
He wants to
I was
call
just
up-
going to
he
say
just call up
that we
people.
saw Scott Johannick at 1855
Coffee house.
Coffee
Yep.
House, and he wants us to be on some sort of video or podcast that he's doing.
You and Dad,
He
right?
mentioned that. Yeah, not
Yeah.
not all of us, but just Dad and I.
We didn't all get the
and
call.
that was just something that I thought was interesting.
To me, it makes a lot of sense because our podcast is so big
Yeah,
that if we go
it's
on
going to
other
help get
people's
him
podcasts,
lots of views.
We're gonna help him.
And then we put it on this, and then we put it on our
Podcast.
social media
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
it's
Exponential,
exponential, the growth.
Anyway,
I think
Okay,
what did you have,
I
Dad?
think I just would warn Scott Johannick about that.
That he might get
Yeah,
too much
uh-huh.
business and too much. Yeah,
We've got too many views.
Hopefully you've got the broadband for this, Scott. I'll be honest with you.
Hopefully
your sites
they
will
have
go
the
down.
camera space
Count
for
the
both
cost.
Dad and my
Count
head.
the cost, Scott, before you have us on because it could blow up and shut things down.
And that's not
when
our
it
fault.
blows up.
That's just friendly
No.
advice.
Yep.
What do you have, Dad?
We have our new clock. Come on, you could show it again if you want to here. And it's keeping us on track. So we've got about 5 minutes, a little less. And so I won't go long. So
Go ahead.
You
You've
stop
got
me.
whatever you got.
But like I said to Natalie Beal, and again, there's honestly no pressure. We kind of kid around. But if she wants to be on, Natalie, if you want to, or somebody you want to tell Natalie we'd like you on, then contact us. I've got a list of other people here that I'd like to see on this couch and for us to talk to. And so I was thinking about Frank Wolf III, who is the historian at Mazo Historical Society. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's older than I am, and I would like to hear stuff about the history of Mazo and hear what the Historical Society is doing with that. That's one of the things I'd like to do. Can I keep going on?
Yes.
I would like to see if we could get Mike Wilkinson, who is not an NBA player, a professional basketball player.
Overseas. And he played for the Badgers.
Played for the Badgers, the player of the year at Wisconsin Heights.
Mr.
We have
Basketball.
a grotto for him, rightfully so, out at Heights. Everything is, did he go to school before Michael or after Michael? It's always
That's the benchmark.
the benchmark.
It also happens to be great that it coincides with the year 2000 that he graduated. That's helpful too.
Yeah.
Meant to be.
Yeah, right. So I'm not saying maybe Michael doesn't, we know Michael, maybe he just doesn't want the publicity. He's done that for years and years, been in front of the camera and had to answer questions and stuff like that. So that's fine, Michael, if you don't want to do that. But we'd love to have you on sometime.
Yeah.
I would like to see us have Scott Dewar on. Now, Scott
Sure.
Dewar from B&B Laminates.
Deshaun's boss.
He's a coach out at the Heights. He's got kids in the Heights
Coached
school
me.
district. He coached you, and he's Deshaun's boss.
Mustangs
Now
backer.
That might get Deshaun up. Nah, probably wouldn't. But that'd be fun to see Deshaun and Scott talking about
Yeah,
B&B Laminates.
it would.
So that's another one.
Talking shop.
Can I go on?
How many more do you have?
I got a
He's
lot.
got a lot.
Just keep going.
Do you want to save
Yeah,
some?
about
for the-
26.
do you want to save some for the
You have
next?
3.5 minutes.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I want to get them all out now.
Go ahead.
Okay, well then get 'em
Jameson
out.
Dewar. Jameson Dewar, firefighter
Oh,
in
yeah.
Madison, local guy. I'd like to get him on. We used to work out. Well, he worked out and I ran on the treadmill at
You
the
watched
Mix
him
It
work
Up.
out.
I watched him work out, and and I wish Jameson would come on. So if you know Jameson and his grandpa, I would like Dick Royston.
Dick Royston.
I would like to have him on because he was the mayor of Mazomanie, and he's older than I am, and he'd have all sorts of stories. And I'd like to talk with Dick. I'd like to talk with Bernie Harrop, who's been a realtor here for decades and decades and grew up in the area. I'd like him to be on the program. I would like maybe Jerry Springstead, who was a teacher for many, many
Frau
years. And if
Springstead.
I remember right, forgive me if I don't have this right, but I'm pretty sure she did her student teaching my junior year and had a different last name. And then she married John and became Frau Springstead. And so I would like to hear
I would also
her
like
story.
I'd also like to hear from Jet to know how in the world you get the name Jet.
Jet, yeah, that would be
nice.
That would be good too.
John could be Jet then too.
Oh man,
Jet Barston.
Jet Bosses. That'd be a good. Oh wow.
I wouldn't mind,
keep going
I
here.
wouldn't
Do it,
mind
yeah.
having Dave Hosking Sr.
And Junior.
was a Vietnam War veteran and Junior on
Yes.
the couch. I'd like them to be on. A couple more, and I won't.
Let's rapid fire. Let's do rapid fire.
Okay, well, I'm just going to name one more because I don't want to put anybody in a spot. Well, two more. Tim Wick is already signed up. We just got to make the
lives
call.
this
Boom.
way.
He just lives a block over here, and he's a buddy of ours.
buildings.
And then I wouldn't mind seeing Gary Harrop, who was the bank president for many, many, many years, and Kendall Traeger. I wouldn't mind having on. And that's just the start. It's just the start. Those are the people.
So many people.
Here's the
They're
thing.
interesting.
top of
So many
the
people that are interesting in Mazo.
Yep, we've got a minute left, and there's a reason that I chose some of those people, but there's probably other people that you have in mind. They'd be a great guest. Now, we have the right to reject or edit any content or any people. We might not have the person on that you suggest, so don't get mad. But the point being is there's a bunch of people that if you watch this, you can leverage your influence on that person and just communicate to them that we're looking for guests. And so that's all I wanted to do is I just wanted to get those people. We had one person already, Katie Blair-Scheer,
Yep.
who runs the Second Chapter Resale. We just had her on.
Yep, and that's
Or
what
we
I
will
was.
have her on.
Yes, we're going to have
Boom,
her
silky
on next.
segue.
Yes. So that's Mazo site-wise. What did you call your thing?
Wisconsin Heights Weekly.
Wisconsin Heights Weekly. And up next we have Katie Blair-Scheer of Second.
Chapter Resale.
Yep, Second Chapter Resale Store. So join us for that next, and then after that we've got ourselves some
This day in history.
this day in history. So join us for that next. Hey everybody, Nate's got his motor stuck in some seaweed. Hey now. And you're watching the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
The two from California.
Oh, okay.
I think they're 11 and 9.
11 and 9.
I think. Yeah. I haven't seen them since last year, so
Oh,
they grow
wow.
up fast.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's nice to know where you live, too.
Yeah.
Kind of in the area, at least, huh?
Yes. I grew up in Richland Center, so
Oh.
graduated from there.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Katie, have you been, are you going to be open during Wild West Days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll get to that because that's important. That's this weekend already. Well, it's
Tonight.
kind of starting
Yeah.
already.
It starts at 5.
Yeah.
So a lot of it will depend on the weather, what all happens this
yeah.
week. But par for the course, right?
Yep. See what I have here?
You're official. Oh, wow.
I was cleaning out a box of stuff, and I found that September 6, 7, and 8, 1996.
Oh, wow.
Just so everybody can see, this is as old as I am.
Yeah, that's right. That's your birthday year. You were just a few months old then.
I was.
He was born on February 14th of 1996, and this is September 6, 7, and 8 of 1976.
Yeah.
So, how do you say your last name? Blair-Scheer?
Blair-Scheer. It's a
Blair-Scheer.
hyphen in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Katie Blair-Scheer.
So I
And
was an old lady when we got married, so I had to keep my maiden name attached to it. So
because you had already been a professional and people knew you by that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yep. So
So tell us about maybe a little. You were mentioning that just a few minutes ago about yourself, like where you grew up. You were talking about where you went to high school.
yeah, I went to high school at Richland Center. Graduated in 1980.
The
farm
Hornets,
girl.
right? The Hornets.
Yes.
Yeah.
The year that I graduated, Leroy Stahl was our big basketball player, who's also was a guidance counselor, I believe, up in Weston, and he would score 50 points a game in basketball.
Wow.
Not the whole team, him personally.
Wow.
So that was always the big, it was pretty cool.
Really? What year did you graduate again?
1980.
1980. Yeah, Becky and I graduated. I graduated from Wisconsin Heights
Okay.
in 1978, and she graduated from Coldwater High School in 1978.
Oh, cool.
In Michigan.
Coldwater, Michigan. Yeah. And so, just so everybody knows, Becky's here, my wife,
My mom.
and Katie's best friend now. Well, I don't know about that, but
And Katie's
she's
here.
We're getting
not
there.
my mom.
Yes.
Not your
Yes.
wife.
We're just getting started. Just wait.
Exactly. And you'll have more in common probably than we will, just because Becky, she can tell you her story, but Becky and her mother over in Michigan go thrift
sisters.
shopping, and sisters go thrift shopping every time she's over there,
Cool.
sometimes multiple days. And it's one of the questions that I have, but we can just, I want to get back to her background. But one of the questions I have is how a second chapter resale compares to like Goodwill and New to You and stuff like that. So I'll ask you that. But tell us a little bit more about your background, whatever you want to tell us. If you don't want to tell us anymore, that's fine. We aren't an investigative reporting.
I have no secrets.
Okay.
Grew up in Richland Center, farm girl.
Okay.
Got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to feed calves, and the bus would be coming down the road to pick us up to go to school. And we're running to the house to change clothes. You just got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, got your stuff done by noon, and the rest of the day you could play if it was summertime. It was pretty cool.
Dairy farm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is somebody still on the home farm from your family?
No,
or?
unfortunately.
Okay.
My dad lives in Illinois now, just has a couple horses. My mom's been gone for about 18 years, so he's just got the horses on the farm that she was living at when she passed. So,
Well, the family farm is such a vanishing breed now. I mean, there's so many. I mean, growing up in this area, almost everybody, I wasn't a farm kid, but I kind of pictured myself as a farm kid because I always worked on a farm. We had a little hobby farm, and all of my friends were basically dairy farmers. And so, probably you the same way, right? I mean,
yeah, probably, yeah. I made hay in the summertime. I was Dad's right-hand man, so I learned how to, cobble things together and fix the John Deere and whatever needed to be done. So traits I still keep with me today.
Yeah. Do you have to do any of that with your current business? I mean, do you get
Sometimes.
some things that need to be, kind of fixed or?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. We get some really bizarre stuff in. You just never know what we're going to get in. Sometimes we get really cool stuff. Sometimes you look at it and go, okay. And then you got to figure out what to do with it.
I saw a post. It was a little video you made of a bunch of stuff. And basically, I think you were saying, we don't need this kind of stuff.
Correct.
Please don't.
Correct.
And maybe as we get further into that, you can tell us what kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that when this plays on what's happening in Meso and stuff, people will see it and won't torture you anymore
Good
by
luck.
dropping off stuff.
Do it just to antagonize.
Yeah.
Then I'll blame you guys, Dave.
So how
Take it to
did
their
you
house.
how did you end up in Mazomanie? I mean, Richland Center, 45 minutes from here?
Yeah,
How did you get this far east?
After high school, I moved to Cambridge. I've worked a lot of places, a lot of restaurants, stuff like that. I owned my own restaurant for a few years. I worked for a convenience store for a long time. I met my husband at the bowling alley in Spring Green through a mutual friend of ours, and we ended up getting together, and then I ended up moving back this way.
Okay.
And my husband was out driving around one day, and he saw where our shop is. It had a for rent sign. And he's like, well, you should take a look at it. And I took a look at it. I made him take a look at it. I knew we were going to outgrow it in a hurry, and we did. But I wouldn't give it up for nothing.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And about that, and jump in whenever you guys want to, but about that building, do you know some of the history behind that? Has anybody...
Right before we had it, it was a daycare.
Yes.
And then Scott had a trophy shop in there. And I do believe it was a hardware store at one time before that.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's been a lot of other things in between.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Because if my memory serves me right, I think there was a railroad track that actually went between those two buildings or right up to those buildings there. But they took it out, I don't know how many years ago.
Okay.
And now there's just one by the depot. But there
Right.
used to be two sets of tracks there. So maybe that was a place where they
That would make
stored
sense,
things
yeah.
or something like that. So how big is your building? I've never been in there. Becky's been in there, but
our spot is only about 1,200 square feet.
it is.
Yes. So it may sound big, but once you start putting stuff in there, it
Shrinks.
It shrinks in a hurry. I knew we were going to outgrow it, and didn't take us 6 months.
Really? So why do you say you wouldn't ever leave there, or at least for the time being?
We love
what's so
Meso.
special about? Okay.
Mesa, I have a family whose son comes, and it's the toy brewery. He brings a toy, he exchanges a toy. They come from Lone Rock. We're established, we've made a personal connection with them. We also have other families in town who will let their 10-year-old daughter and son come to our shop on their own and shop. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're called the toy store by a couple of people. And we've also been known that if somebody just needs somebody to talk to, my husband and I are there. What is said in our shop stays in our shop. And it's just kind of cool to have people come to us and just know that it's a safe place. During COVID, we had a couple people that they just needed to get out, and I was down there doing repainting and stuff like that. And they came in and they just kind of hung out for a little bit. We did the safe distancing thing, but they got away from the family a little bit. The mom hadn't talked to anybody but her husband as an adult for 6 weeks. She needed somebody,
Yeah.
We love it there. We've become a destination place too, which is really nice.
Like you said, it's interesting too that Meso, I'm sure there's spots where you don't want your kids walking around and stuff like that, but as a whole, Meso's a pretty safe area, and being able to go over to the second chapter, resale or whatever it is, and go get something. It's like just walk
Ride
on
your
down,
bike or-
and it's,
Yeah.
just to be able to be that comfortable it's also nice to. There's a lot of places like that
Right.
in Meso, but to be able to.
I have
Do your
one
thrifting.
family that the bigger sister came in the other day and had a budget and was buying her little sister a birthday present, and she, of course, you get a little bit extra when you're 10 years old buying for your sister. You get a deal, But everything in there's been donated, so why not give back to these kids and let them experience that buying something, not everything has to be new. You know, there's some history in some of the stuff that we have. Not too long ago, I had a lady come in and we had something in our glass case and she started crying. And I'm like, uh-oh, you know, what happened? Well, here her great-granddaughter had just broke a dish that I had in that case that I could replace it.
Wow.
And she was so ecstatic because she never thought she'd see anything like that again. You know, those are the kind of stories that warm your heart.
Well, and it's nice to, in Mazo or any small town, to have people that start a business and they're there. They're there to stay and not come in and go out. And
Exactly.
So
We've been there
that's-
5 years, and there's only been 1 day that I've had, 2 days. I've had somebody besides my husband or myself in that shop.
Wow.
If I say we're going to be there, we're there, unless it's a family, something
Sure.
family. Otherwise, we just have to be there. That's our business. That's you got to have that consistency.
When I was a kid, Mazo was a bustling, there was a grocery store, a kind of a dime store, department store, 2 barbers, bars, different things like that. And since, kind of it's gone down, but it's great to see it kind of becoming revitalized. And a store like yours, along with like the 1855
Exactly.
coffee house, are more, it seems like more stable. They can stay there.
Yes.
As opposed to some of the businesses that have come and gone. And no, I'm not trying to be negative toward them, but sometimes, I don't know if eccentric would be the word, or just they didn't have the appearance that they were going to be able to get enough business
The
and stay
apothecary,
there.
I can never say that one right.
Yeah.
They're another one. And what we do, if you tell me that you've been at the Mercantile at the 1855 coffee house,
Yes.
you get an extra 10% off. It promotes that business. Let's walk downtown. More people are going to the library and stopping over. We have a room full of books that, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. Black Earth Library donated all their books at the end of their book sale this year. Mazo Library is doing the same thing. I can do them. I can sell them cheap. And I have a list for a couple different people, books that they're looking for, that as I'm going through the books,
Sure.
I'll set them aside.
Sure.
And
nice.
yeah, I love it.
Do you live in Mazomanie?
No, we live between Arena and Spring Green.
Okay.
So,
But that's where your husband is from?
yes.
Spring Green
Well, he's
area.
actually from Madison.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. So when I met him, he was working at the bowling alley in Spring Green. So
What's the name of the bowling alley again? We used to live in Spring Green many, many moons ago. Remember what is it?
when
It's the
he was there, it was
Bowling Green?
JB's Bowling
Oh,
Green. Yeah.
Okay, Bowling Green.
Yeah,
Remember
bowling.
that?
It was a bowling. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell us about your hours. I mean, so that people know, and you've got a website, how they can get a hold of you, if you want a phone number, or you have Facebook, I know that, but what are
yes.
your hours?
We are only closed on Mondays. Otherwise, we are open 9 to 6, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then 10 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
Open for
full
business.
service.
Yep.
Yep.
And your website is,
The website is in the middle of being reconstructed right now.
okay,
So we're just kind of closing that down. Our goal is within the next couple of weeks, we are going to shut down for a week just to repaint and do some revamping some stuff. I actually have some new shelving coming in and stuff like that. So when about that time, we want to rebuild our website with the new pictures and,
sure.
and stuff like that. So if you hear that we're closed, it's only for remodeling. So I remember when we closed last year for vacation, the whole town had us closed permanently. It's like, no, we're
tough.
only on vacation. But
So if you want to do some remodeling and stuff, bring your sledgehammer and your paintbrush.
yes,
That's
especially the paintbrush and a tall ladder.
tall ladder.
Yes.
I've got some other questions, but maybe do you have anything specific, or Hudson?
I can't think of anything right now.
No, go ahead. Shoot away.
I was wondering if there are things that you would have that would be very unique in your store. Not that you have a catalog in your mind of everything that you have, but you have some unique type things that you said you talked about that dish that you have. Do you have a lot of those types of things? Do you have do you have antiques, or is it more just recent type
It
things?
depends on the day.
Okay.
Sometimes I get China sets in, old China sets. Sometimes I get Pokemon cards. It just kind of depends. If you're cleaning out your garage, you never know what you're going to decide that
Yeah,
you're done with.
true.
And people would rather see it go there first and then before the landfill. In the last, I just want to throw this out there. We have sent stuff to South Africa, to the Philippines. We send stuff to Indian reservations. When Texas had their flooding, we've sent stuff out.
Good.
So basically, if you know that somebody that's going out to help people in need, give us a call. We've got enough stuff that we can definitely bag up. And that's because everybody is so generous in donating local like they are. I can keep my prices the way they are because it's all donated in. And it's just a really good feeling to know that this community is helping another community when that happens. You know, it puts Mazo on the map.
About how much percentage-wise, and maybe you don't want to disclose this, but like let's say you get 100% stuff in, what percentage would you say would have to be thrown out? Or what? Maybe you want to say it on the positive. What percentage do you keep and put in your
Again,
store?
it just depends on what it is and the shape that it
Generally,
comes in.
I mean, is it 50% or is it less than that or more than that? What do you think?
So when we first started out, that's kind of changed over the years. When we first started out, I was keeping everything that I could. I have 4 storage units now. So now I don't have to keep just about everything. I'm downsizing those storage units. So I have become a little bit pickier. I try really hard not to have stains on shirts. If I can smell the clothes, I send them on to the next. Not that I always catch it, because sometimes you just get immune to the smells in your, in your surroundings. But I would say that 70 to 80% we still keep.
Okay.
So I do want to kind of tell you guys a little bit about the story behind the name of the shop.
Sure.
So my mom has been gone for 18 years, and she was big into butterflies. She believes that butterflies are the second chance of life, the second chapter of what's to come. And we couldn't call the place Second Chance because there's so many different organizations out there with that name. We would have just blended in. And I'm a very avid book reader. I probably have 5 or 6 books going at any time. So we kind of combine the two. So it's still the second chapter of, that your cups or whatever. So we're a firm believer in that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good story.
I was going to
I'm
ask
glad
how
you
you
told
came up with the name. That
Yeah.
was one of my
Yeah.
questions.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
You beat me to it,
telling
which
us
is
that.
not a problem.
I'm very proud of that. My mom's been gone for a long time. And every time I get a butterfly in of any kind, I know mom's with me. I had a lady the other day that brought me a picture frame that she had glued butterflies around it. And I have a picture of my mom and I when I was 2 that's going in that frame. It's just those little things like that. My husband and I have made so many new friends and close people since we've moved to town. That small town feeling,
Yeah.
you can't knock it.
Yeah.
That's before you go. That's some of the reason why we kind of produce this podcast, is to get to know people like you, other people. Some of them have been people we're a little bit closer to. Some of them have been people we don't like. Scott Johannick, we didn't know him basically at all, and just getting to know the people that are coming in and our business owners and stuff like that, and spotlighting those different stories. So because we like Mazo quite a bit, and I like the small town way better than going anywhere that's bigger, just because of those neighborly
I like
aspects.
not having to lock your doors. Not that we don't, but
Hopefully for the criminals who aren't watching this.
I didn't say that we didn't. We have
locks her
security
doors.
cameras up at the shop. We had to.
Yeah,
We've had things removed from the front that
Oh,
we're not supposed to be. Just like the stuff that's been brought in that's not supposed to be. We have you on camera now. If it's something that we're not supposed to have, you're on camera.
So when you drop it off at night, you
It's
can just
still there.
wave.
Yeah.
Let them know.
See you soon.
Yeah. Make sure you wave at the camera. So we won't tell you which ones are really.
Yeah.
So you've been in business for 5 years here in Mazo. Is this your first business? First
It's our
solo
first
business
resale.
entrepreneur? What's that?
Our first resale shop,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I owned a restaurant in Stockton, Illinois
You did.
before that.
Okay.
So
So this isn't your first go around of being a small business owner either.
correct.
Good for
Correct.
you.
Another small town.
And do you have employees, or it's just you and your
Just
husband?
myself and my son, or my husband, I mean.
Okay.
It was my son when it was my restaurant,
he'll get it.
Sometimes he's like my son,
It's a Freudian slip. Yeah. Most of
Yeah,
us
he'll catch that,
husbands
too.
are like sons sometimes.
I keep saying he's my 65-year-old teenager, so,
Yeah, I hear you. So compare, is it, I don't know, this is an honest question. I don't go to resale stores that much, so I don't know how it compares with a New to You or Goodwill or whatever. Is
St.
there
Vinny's.
St. Vinny's? How does it compare with that? Is it similar, or is that not a good comparison? It's a naive question, an honest question.
We're a lot like them, only our prices are a lot cheaper.
Okay.
We're garage sale prices, pretty much. I mean, I think you would agree with that one.
Yeah.
And we run a lot of sales. I mean, I try to stay within the 3-month guideline of, so now the stuff that I put out in June is on sale. And the longer the month goes, the more on sale it goes. And last week of the month, we usually have quarter items that I had put out. It works out pretty good, cleaning out a lot of stuff. And I started doing that because as much as we try not to give to St. Vinny's and Goodwill, I would rather send to the other countries and people like that, but not everybody's going. And it just, you can come in and buy a lot of clothes for $5. I've had a family come in and get school clothes for all of their grandkids, spent $60, and they walked out there with 10 bags of stuff.
Instead of one pair of jeans or something like that at the store.
T-shirt, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, paying $15 or $30 for a T-shirt is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you're speaking my language.
The one place that doesn't have inflated prices at the time.
Yeah.
So anything else that either you two have or we didn't hit, a question that you would like to say? If you don't, that's fine, but just...
I wouldn't be here, still be here. We survived the flood. I think that we instrumented a lot of, when this flood happened, we said we were going to take donations in, from taking donations in one day to closing down the next day for 6 weeks to still distribute all the stuff for the floods. Our landlord, Scott Stokes, donated a spot for us to set up tables for families in need to come down and get what they needed. And then when that filled up, he donated another spot so that we could continue to give out. So if you needed something, come on down and get it, And I think that helped us. The winter when we had 46 below and, we've overcome a lot. But with Mazo being the town that it is and how close-knit the people are, you're going to have drama no matter where you go. We just ignore it. We don't care.
Yeah.
You just make the best out of what you can and smile.
But being a part of a town, a village, when they go through stuff like the flood, that was a big deal. I mean, that was like we live up here on the hill.
Thing, yeah.
And when you would drive down there, it was like 2 different Mazos.
Yeah.
It was like a war zone down there. And you go down with friends and people and you see what's going on down there. And then you come up here and mow your lawn. It's like you feel terrible that, here you're living kind of sunshine and roses, and down there they're digging out and tearing down homes and stuff like that. So
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we knew a lot of people before that, but I think that situation brought us closer to a lot of the families that were affected by it, that still come in, that are still part of our adopted family now. I'm Grandma Kate to a lot of 2 and 3-year-olds.
That's not so bad, is it?
No, I'll take it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sure we appreciate that. I mean, that's what you have to do with small towns, is come together to get through those things. And it's nice to have people that you can count on for that.
Exactly.
So are we good with time for a few minutes?
We've got 7 minutes, looks like.
What we do, Katie, you like Kate or Katie?
Either one.
Okay. So what we do is with our guests, we give them the choice. So you won't bother us if you say, no, I don't want to. We play Would You Rather games with them. Have you ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Everybody's heard that except me. I mean, I didn't know that until I thought I came up with something really special.
Man River.
And then everybody else says, I always ask that question. They say, yeah, I play that. So here's one. We'll start out with this. And you be thinking about this too, you two guys.
Sure.
Would you rather ride a roller coaster or a water slide? You can answer first, or somebody else can answer. Roller coaster or water slide?
Roller coaster.
Okay. Any specific reason? Just
to me, life is a daily roller coaster.
Okay.
I'm used to it.
She'd be the one just sitting like this,
So it's
going through it.
illustrative of your life, huh?
Exactly.
How about you, Beck?
I'll say a water slide. I like both, but it's kind of nice on a hot day to get nice and cool and have lots of varieties as far as water slides. There's lots to pick from.
I'm not a big fan of both.
You'd like to go fishing
is my kayak
camping or
on
something.
the
Yeah.
river? Is that enough
Yeah.
for a water slide? No, I'm not a big fan of either of those. I'm not a great swimmer. Not that you have to be a good swimmer to go down a water slide, but I also not a huge roller coaster guy. So
I've got lead feet in more ways than one. So if I'm in the water, I just sink. I kid you not. I remember years ago, my friend Lori will laugh at this, but we used to work at a factory, and afterwards we go out to the lake and go swimming. And there was a little diving thing out in the middle, and they helped me out there. I can't swim. I dove off. I went right on down. Well, they told you not to move, not to freak out. Well, I didn't move at all. So, of course, they came in after me, and she will never let me forget that, and I can't forget it either. But, yeah.
they told you should be freaking out. You're drowning. So she's
Yes.
very calm.
I'm always opposite of what you should be.
I like water slides because they, as I remember, they always go down.
Oh, sure.
Where roller coaster rides go up, and I don't like heights. So, a Ferris wheel or roller coaster, they're always going up and down, and you always have to go up again. So water slides are always down.
Sure.
That's my theory
I think
anyway.
we got time for one more.
One
Dad.
more?
Yep. Let's
Okay.
do one more.
Would you rather have to cook the big holiday meal every year or clean up and do the dishes afterwards? Are you more of a cleanup person or a cooking person? Which would you rather? Would you rather have to cook the big holiday meal or clean up after? Cook, the cleanup, no deal.
Yeah, I hate dishes.
You like to cook? Good cook? You feel like you're a good cook? Or just kind of just an addict? Well, you ran a restaurant. Of course you're a good cook. I'll say it for you.
Well, I hired some good help, too.
Okay, that helps, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I learned.
I'd have to agree. I would rather cook because after you eat all of it, you're tired.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get up and have to clean up.
True. That's a good
I
point.
don't want to. And depending on how, like if you're doing scalloped potatoes or something like that,
Oh,
you better
that
get out a
power washer or something. Get
And a
Ryan Van
jackhammer
Riper. Yeah, back
to get
again.
those things off
Yeah.
the side.
How about you, Beck?
I guess I'd do the cleanup. I mean, years ago, I
Oh,
would have wanted to
perfect.
do all of the cooking type things, but I don't know. I'm pretty spoiled now. I have a lot of people that do meals for us, and I don't know. Cleaning up afterwards is just I'd rather do that.
I'd like to be one of those TV chefs that get to use 30 pans, really nice pans, and all these. They're just always using new pans, and they just shove them off, and somebody else
Yeah.
does
And
all
the people
that.
set up
That's what
everything
I-
for
Yep,
them. They
exactly.
set it up and
Yep.
they just cook and then they
Yeah.
do all the cleanup.
Well, Katie, thank you for being part of our podcast. When I contacted you, did I just come out and ask you if you wanted to be on the podcast, or
Yeah.
how did I approach you? Right away, you were back messaging me about
I
that.
admire what you guys are doing.
Oh,
and
thank
I have enjoyed watching your podcast. So I'm
Thank
honored
you.
to be part of it.
Well, good. And we've got just enough time for me to walk over here.
Yeah. This is new. I don't know if it's the prize table. You get to take one. It's the coupon. You're going to have to get a little bit there you go. Yeah, a little bit farther back.
There's the coupon to be redeemed at our prize table.
Oh, cool.
So you get to pick out one thing, and then we'll take a picture of you.
Once we're all done.
And once we're all
let
done,
you pick.
and put it on the podcast during the podcast.
Okay.
Come on, we'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, sound okay?
Yeah.
And it's food. Well, there's some other things. I suppose you could take them and put them in the
You know what she's going to do? She's
second
going to take,
chapter.
she's going to flip them.
Yep.
She's going
Yeah,
to get them from
why
us
not?
and then
Hey,
Well,
mark
it
the
depends
price
on what
up.
it is.
That is perfectly fine with us
Yep.
if you want to do that. We won't come down tomorrow and say, "Hey, she put our gift
You'd
on
be
the."
surprised at the stuff I don't take home with me that comes in. I have certain things like antique books.
Mine?
Yes.
One for
forget
me,
it.
two for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but other than that, I
Sure.
don't have, 4 storage units at home. I have them for the shop. So
Sure. Well, thank you again.
thank
It's
you
been
very
a
much.
pleasure to
Thank
get to
you. Very
meet you,
nice
and
to meet
hopefully
you.
we'll send Becky down, or we'll come down sometime and see you and your husband.
cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
No problem.
Local guests of the original Father-Son voiceover podcast get a coupon towards the FSVP prize table and your choice of a valuable take-home gift. Congratulations, and thanks for being a guest on the original Father-Son voiceover podcast.
Jack of it's ahead, John.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't get I didn't get to say my joke that I was going to say
10 seconds.
about
That's probably
in,
best.
in the Wisconsin Heights Weekly. The reason that Wisconsin Heights lost to Abundant Life is they had more life in them.
I was really glad that we didn't get that joke off.
We do need to get a segment called Joe's Jokes because that would be funny.
Will he
was a
make
good
us
It would be
laugh?
funny to see if he could make us laugh.
That was a good
He
one.
makes me laugh just because he's got that. Because he makes Drew kind of grumpy.
So real quickly, I didn't find the pin, but I did find
thought you
my
said you were
class
bringing it
ring.
up.
Well, you said that. You said,
You said you wouldn't bring it up,
I
but
brought
that's
my
the
class
first-
He
ring,
said, "How would you?"
and I probably worn it 5 times. So
This is
the
the
re-
6th.
Well, the reason I don't is if you'd see my finger here, it's like I got caught in a pump when I was a kid, and so it was all kind of mangled. And so I thought,
So you
by
bought a
putting
class ring for a mangled finger?
By putting
So
a
that it
ring
could
on
bring
it.
up both stories.
No, I got put into the flow of buying letter
Letterman,
jackets and a class ring and yearbooks. That's the thing. That's the thing that you used to do, but peer pressure.
Oh.
And so I got a class ring. I really didn't want one, but I did it because everybody was doing it. Not a good plan.
Nope.
But it goes on this finger, and it's kind of like it's kind of mangled claw. And so every time I put this class ring on, it brought attention to this claw. So I stopped wearing it. I probably wore it 3 or 4 times. So I just got it out.
All right, Drew,
Probably
what do
wear
you
it
got
today.
for us here? We're back with the original father-son voiceover podcast.
We got some this day in history. Today being September 10th, 2022.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to get through some of these. 1349, just Jews. I don't know why, but it's just them by itself. I don't know where exactly they're at. It looks like Germany, maybe. Jews who survived a massacre in Constance, Germany, are burned to death. So they survived somehow. I should have looked up a little more information on that. I did on a few other ones to get us a little bit more information, but that was the oldest one they had on this day in history.
That is a
Good start.
That's a very dark place
fiery
to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
In 1547, Battle of Pinkie in Midlothian, English beat the Scots. I think that happened a lot. In
What were they
16
doing? Were they drinking tea? Is that what they were doing? They with their
The
pinky
Battle
up?
of Pinkie.
Pinky wrestling.
Yeah. I would guess it's probably just it's just an old army joke. Probably a little bit later on in 1608, John Smith was elected president of Jamestown Colony Council
Nice.
in
Way to
Virginia.
go, James.
John Smith.
Jimothy
Was
Smith.
Pocahontas there too?
Pocahontas. I don't
Jet. Jet Smith.
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
That's what his closest friends called him.
Yeah, Jet. That's possible. They maybe did.
Vote for Jet. That's what they said.
There you go. You know what you'll get voting for Jet.
True.
How about that? That'd be good.
He's a
I'm sure
safe
that's
bet.
probably what his slogan was.
He's a safe bet.
He
Yeah,
sure
Jet's
is.
a safe bet. Yeah, maybe they had posters up around Virginia.
and I think he was,
Jamestown.
wasn't he? Jet's a vet too. I think he was in the army.
Vote
wasn't
for
he?
the safe bet, Jet.
According to
Jet.
Disney.
Who's a vet?
You better pull that microphone over farther.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah,
so
Joe.
seriously,
You're going to talk at us.
because you're going to talk.
Perfect.
That's
Talking
the
about-
problem with having him here.
On the
Yeah.
original father-son
Because
voiceover
when
podcast.
he's over there, then you're speaking.
It's about-
Anyway, that doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
Such a-
1776, George Washington asks for a spy volunteer. Nathan Hale volunteers. This was right at the beginning of the Revolutionary War, I think.
Interesting.
Yep. In 1823, Simon, well, I think he's Simone Bolivar.
Is that with an E?
Nope.
Okay.
Named.
One of those little hash marks up there.
Yeah, I don't know what those called.
Accent mark?
Probably. Simone Bolivar, named president of Peru. And here's a little backstory
Oh,
about
let's hear it.
Simone. Here's a Spanish name I'm probably not going to be able to pronounce, but I'm going to give it a try. Simón José Antonio de la Santísima
Nice.
Trinidad
That was right
Bolivar y Palacios.
That's his name?
Yeah, long name.
He's got an
How
and
many
in his
hyphens
name.
were in there?
What's that?
He's got an and in his name?
Yeah, probably.
Why is and in... Wow.
Well, de la Santísima
Maybe it was from where
Trinidad
he's
Bolivar.
from. Is it
Yeah,
part of
that
where
may
he's
have been
from?
where
Maybe
he's from, Joe.
He was
Okay.
from this place and this place, or he had ruled over
Oh.
this place and that place.
Wow. That's very possible.
I have no idea.
He was a Venezuelan military and political leader who led what are currently the countries of Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Panama, and Bolivia to independence from the Spanish Empire.
Has it been Bolivia this whole time?
Yeah, Bolivia. What did I say? No. It's Bolivar. That's why they have. I think that's why Bolivia is named Bolivia.
I thought you were saying
That's
Bolivia
a
as
lot of-
Bolivar.
Independence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot
so
of-
he is very important
Founding
to
father.
those South American folks and Central American too.
Never heard of him, but
Yep.
I'm sure he's important to them.
Yeah, very important. 1846, Elias Howe takes out a U.S. patent for a lock stitch sewing machine, modern sewing machine.
Nice.
I thought it was funny too because it said one of his sisters is named Eliza, so he's Elias, and she was Eliza. I wonder if they had Elias ready to go, and then a girl popped out, the first one, his older sister,
Elias.
and then there's Eliza. Let's go with Eliza. The next one will be Elias. Boom. That's probably what happened. 1858, John Holden hits first recorded home run. Brooklyn versus New York.
Nice. That must have been
When
amazing.
we watched that baseball documentary, remember there were some games that they didn't have a fence. So maybe this was one of the first ones where they actually had a fence where he hit it over for a home run. A home runner.
I'm not
You can
getting
just
that.
go all the way around the base.
Well, you can't even have an in the park home run because if you don't have a fence,
The
it's
whole
not
thing,
in the
it's,
park.
It's in the planet home run. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Inside the planet
yeah,
because
planet home run. Be hit as far as there's no boundaries.
exactly.
Oh man, should know my boundaries.
As long as they don't change them for my test.
Yeah.
Sure know my boundaries good, don't I?
Sure do.
Just as long as they don't change them before I take my test.
In 1869, Baptist minister supposedly invents rickshaw in Yokohama, Japan.
Supposedly.
What's a rickshaw?
Rickshaw
It's when they pull
in from Japan.
A person pulls a little cart.
rickshaw
It's like a
from Japan.
taxi, right?
It's like a
Okay.
Like
I
a
know what it
human
is.
pulled taxi.
Yeah.
So here's a little
rickshaw.
He supposedly like,
yeah. Well, he's credited with it. So here you go. Here's a little backstory.
His name wasn't Rickshaw.
no.
Too bad.
Jonathan Goebbel.
Rickshaw. He's got that.
Yeah.
Rickshaw.
Rickshaw from
Let's see.
Japan.
Let's name it Rick,
Rick
Shaw. That's original. Here's the backstory.
Okay.
Jonathan Goebbel, sometimes called Jonathan Scobie, I'm not sure why. He was an American Baptist missionary to Japan. He is said to have invented the rickshaw around 1869 to transport his invalid wife.
Invalid.
His invalid wife.
She was not as
Which is also okay. Invalid. That's probably better.
I'm glad I'm helping you read because
It's good.
your face is right. Invalid.
Invalid.
You're
That's
not
a little-
invalid.
It's creeping up on you.
Yep. Well, they come back when you're on camera. Those words really come fast, don't they?
Yeah, man. Well, especially when they put them all together like that. Transport his invalid wife through the streets of Yokohama. So
It sounds like he's
his
not
name
sure of a
Jason?
lot of things.
Is his
Like,
name
he just
Joseph?
said, he said, hey,
Joseph
I
Goebbel?
came up with the rickshaw.
That's really close to Joseph Goebbels.
it's Jonathan.
Scobie.
Jonathan
Scobie.
Oh, it's
Goebbel.
Jonathan
Oh,
Goebbels.
Jonathan Goebbel.
Oh, Jonathan. I thought you said Joseph, and I thought
No.
that's
It sounds like he's on the fence on a lot of things. Like he maybe founded that or came up with
I don't
that.
think he was on the fence at all. I think
then
that he
he-
believed he invented it, and somebody said, "Well, I'm around 100% sure."
he's like,
about
hey,
that."
look over
And
there.
then
There's a
doesn't
rickshaw.
know, he doesn't know for sure what his name, what he goes by.
Okay.
Seems like he's not a very confident guy.
You wonder if a guy by the name of Rick Shaw sued him
Yeah.
for taking his
Yeah.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was going by, and the guy said, "Hey, Rickshaw." His friend's name was Rickshaw. And he's walking across the
So
street
it was
right
a-
past
he-
that
he
thing.
didn't know- he
and the
didn't
guy
know it
said,
was
"Yeah,
him."
that's what one of those things."
You think that
Rickshaw.
happened in where was this?
This is Japan.
Japan?
So it's probably
There's
like an
rickshaw.
Irish or Scottish person that's driving around.
They were.
this.
They were. What do they call those? What do you call people that
I
show,
rarely know what
that
you're
go
thinking.
to certain
Somebody tell
places?
them.
Tourists.
There we
Tourists.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, tourists.
Oh, tourists,
Yeah.
yeah.
There are lots of tourists
In
in
Japan
Japan in
at that time.
1869. Yeah. 1894, London taxi driver George Smith is the first to be fined for drunk driving.
Wow, that's really
How would you
that's
like to
really
be known
sad
for
that the Smith family from John founding that
Jet Smith.
Jet Smith
John
to
founding
then
what?
George to him being not founding, but he was the then it was the
Elected president of
elected
Jamestown.
president, and
Jamestown.
then here just a couple
His brother
generations
his
later,
son-
then
his
it's like
great-grandson
George,
was,
yeah.
It's going
was
downhill.
drunk
then.
driving.
It does
That's
seem
what
to be
happens.
an important thing if you're driving people around professionally and charging them as a taxi driver. You wouldn't want to do it drunk.
No.
I wonder how he even got in trouble though. Was it a citizen arrest or seriously, like what? How would they have known? Like, did he get into an accident? How would back then? How would they have known that
Did
he
they
was
have a
driving drunk?
defibrillator?
Maybe they did have a defibrillator.
Checked him with a defibrillator.
There you go.
No, it's a what do they call those things?
Breathalyzer?
It's a
Breathalyzer.
defibrillator.
Defibrillator.
1900.
Wrong, no.
Around 8 inches of rainfall at Elk Point, South Dakota was a state record. Last week we had rainfall record, so I thought I'd bring in one real quick.
Yeah.
Neat.
I have a rainfall record here
Tie it together.
this weekend.
Yep. 1913, Lincoln Highway opens as first paved coast-to-coast highway across the United States. They say I-80 is most closely linked to this old highway. Kind of parallels it or whatever. 1919, New York City welcomes home General John J. Pershing and 25,000 World War I soldiers.
Wow.
John Joseph Jingleheimer Schmidt Pershing, GCB. I added that part. Nicknamed Black Jack, was a senior United States Army officer. He served most famously as the commander of the American Expeditionary Forces on the Western Front during World War I from 1917 to 1918. But more importantly to me,
John Jacob
the Pershing donut
was named.
was
after him.
supposedly named after him.
Is that true, or is that something you just made
That's
up?
what they, yeah.
I was
Pershing
gonna ask
donut.
about
He
that.
and his wife, his wife.
Was she his
were-
valid or invalid wife?
I'm not sure about that. Doesn't
Okay.
state. But they were visiting some sort of New York
Deli?
pastry, deli,
Bakery?
all of the probably grocery store.
Grocery.
And I guess they named it after him. But it's also called a Persian as well.
Persian donut.
But it is also
Like
called a Pershing.
Persian.
That's true.
And then Pershing.
That's
Pershing.
correct. Yep.
But
You're
now
training
he has
your
other
mom
things named after
spell
him
it thing
too,
out.
like warships and stuff.
Probably.
But which is more important, the warships or the donut?
The donut.
Right now, to us, the donut.
Okay.
Because I could
This
maybe
time.
not, there'd be never a time that I'd ever get on one of those battleships.
Right, but they
So
would
it's like-
protect your,
Your
right,
right
to have a
donut.
Pershing donut.
That's true.
what I'm trying to think
I
about.
would
See what I
say,
mean?
Well,
I would
then you
say
go
the
with the-
USS
protecting the right.
Pershing is more important symbolically.
Because
But
it
once they've done their fighting, the Pershing donut is more important.
gives you the freedom and right.
to have
It's
that
another.
that donut.
It's just another reminder of the freedom that we have
boom.
when you eat that Pershing donut.
1922, New York Yankees play their farewell home games in the Polo Grounds. At the Polo Grounds. They win both games of the doubleheader against the Philadelphia Athletics. They moved to Yankee Stadium the following season.
1920.
Which now
last
they're in a
games.
new Yankee Stadium.
You're right.
I don't know. Maybe Randall von Scottman knows exactly what the name of that stadium is now.
And that was 100 years ago.
Yep.
Because I'm not a Yankees fan,
1922.
unfortunately. I'm a Cubs fan.
1926, Germany joins the League of Nations. The League of Nations was known as the predecessor of the United Nations.
No.
The League of Nations lasted from 1920 to 1946 and was an intergovernmental organization with the aim to promote international cooperation and to achieve international peace and security. Founded by Woodrow Wilson.
I don't think they
America was not a member.
I don't think they stayed.
Founded
in that
by
very
us.
long.
We're just going to go
Hey,
ahead.
here's this thing for you guys.
Yeah,
but
we were
won't.
just watching over it.
Nice.
But we were not a member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. But that didn't sound like Germany stayed in that very long.
That's correct. Yeah, they decided to just kind of go to war later
Well,
on.
they probably thought, well, why does the United States get to invent this? And then,
That's why they went to
'Cause
war.
We're USA.
yeah, that's not what I was saying. But so they didn't stay in it for
Speaking
very
of-
long.
Speaking of wars,
Dad takes
Well, I
over.
feel like I need to help
Yeah,
you now
you-
that's the
you've maybe lost your
invalid
privilege.
invalid.
I have
guess that-
one. Listen, look at how many
Dad's
words
our-
are in here. I
Dad's
got
our
one
fact
word
checker.
I mess up.
Dad's
I
our
nailed
fact.
that Spanish, Simone. How about nailing that one? I should give me a little
Bolivar.
Okay.
bit of equity.
He's one- he's one
that's
for
fair.
two.
Fair.
Okay,
Yeah,
true.
this isn't
500.
voiceover. You can't just edit it out, Dad.
Oh, true.
That's true.
In your
Good
face.
point. This is like a live directed session where you got to be on point with every
Mm-hmm.
word.
Yep.
Now, you can look. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But you said which goes in really well too. So it's kind of just jumping in on what I'm
I'm-
trying to do here.
I'll be honest with you. It's hard for me not to have a microphone in front of my face. I feel like I'm not I feel like I have to always
seem
be
that
talking
difficult.
here.
So the microphone would keep you from looking at his
No,
screen?
but I'm looking over here
Or
to
from
be with the
taking over?
microphone.
I certainly don't think
and
it
I
would
don't
stop
want
him
to
from
talk like
talking.
this because then it's rude to him. It's like I'm not listening.
Well, but now you're
So
yelling.
I'm caught betwixt two.
So you either have to take
Two
over or
microphones.
not listen. Those are our options.
In my mind, those are the
I
only
think I'll,
I don't
I think I'll take you not listening.
I don't feel like putting a microphone in front of him is going to make him
Here's what I'm going to
talk
do.
less.
I'm going to kind of look at the microphone and look at you, but not look at the page.
Yeah, just look at your,
Seriously.
just look at your,
It's
at
all
your class ring.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
You should lean your head on his face like Tim Conway.
In 1942, British RAF drops 100,000 bombs on Dusseldorf, Germany.
100,000
Dusseldorf.
bombs.
I wonder how they counted those.
Hopefully there's only 10.
Did they have somebody
Okay.
making check marks?
But they drop them
Slow
quick, too.
down. Slow down.
That was got to be at least 100,000.
But just to think about sometimes like we live near Truax Field in Madison, and sometimes they go to like Fort McCoy, big planes, and they're not flying that high. And you think about what would that be like for big planes dropping bombs, 100. What would that do to people and to their buildings? It was just
Not good.
disaster.
Devastation.
Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very fortunate right now.
This is a really good one. I like this one. 1945, Mike the Headless Chicken is decapitated in Fruita, Colorado. He survives for another 18 months before choking to death.
For choking to death?
How do you
Before
choke
choking
to death?
Here you go. I'll give you a little history on this. I got quite a bit on this one. This is great.
Let's do it.
Buried the lead on this one. Okay, so Mike survived because most of a chicken's brain is located in the back of its head, behind the eyes. When the owner, Olson, brought down the axe, he lobbed off most of Mike's head, but left the part of the brain that controlled breathing, digestion, and other bodily functions. The owner realized he had in Mike an attraction that others would pay to see and spent the next 18 months exhibiting the headless rooster at fairs, carnivals, and other public events. He fed Mike by dripping water and liquid food into his esophagus with a dropper and removed like some mucus and stuff from his throat. So what happened was he and his wife were staying at a hotel, and they woke up to Mike the Headless Chicken kind of like choking on his own mucus. And they didn't have the syringe or dropper to pull the stuff out. He just died.
I wonder how much money he made.
Yeah.
Because think about that. So he's got other chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking, Mike, please survive.
Yeah.
Because we don't want, what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Something Olson.
We don't want him
Holy.
coming to try to cut off half of my head
Right.
so I can have another
I
attraction.
wonder how
bet you
many
that
times
guy
he tried to do
I
it
was
again.
gonna say, yeah.
That's what I mean.
He
Why
probably,
wouldn't you?
he
Well,
probably
I think
was.
it'd be closer to like nearly headless because he's not
Completely
headless
headless.
because if
You take a look at the picture, his head's basically gone.
but he's still got part of his brain.
But it must be just the last little bit.
You look at a
kinda hanging
picture,
onto his-
Damon probably can show a picture of it. It's a black and white picture. It's not that gory. But it's just, it looks like a rooster with his head off.
He was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. That's where the saying comes from.
I don't
Not
know.
from him,
but he was a
just-
rooster.
I think that there have been plenty
Okay,
of
thanks.
family.
decapitated chickens prior to Mike the Headless.
Job, you were the one who didn't
That's,
believe.
I've
that
never
he was
heard that.
headless.
I didn't call him
I've never heard that could happen.
But I
wonder
didn't
if
call him a
it's just
chicken.
kind
I
of
called him a
brain
rooster.
Oh,
stem
damn,
or
right.
something
Neck.
back here.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
1945, they still have a Mike the Headless Chicken Day. They have day chicken, something like that in Fruita, Colorado.
I have a question for you.
I might not have the answer, but go ahead.
Do you have a lot more? A few more?
3 this day, and
Okay.
then we're good.
You think so? Okay.
Easy,
we're
10
solid.
minutes.
I know
Let's
we
do
are.
it. Yeah.
Plus, we got the clock now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I was just making
we
sure.
know at 27,
that we got
28
to
minutes.
what all of Drew, because I didn't see what he had. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure we got
Dad's
to
seen
all
plenty,
of it.
but
yeah.
yep. The next one, 1955. Gunsmoke premieres on CBS TV.
fan favorite
TV
right here.
starring James Arness
As Matt Dillon.
It's a great day.
Yeah, it's a great
John,
day.
John Wayne did it.
Yeah, John Wayne.
Yep.
Yeah, they wanted him to do it. But he said
He
no.
did a promo though, saying, "Watch this.
Good
'cause
evening.
This guy is good, and
Marshall
you're gonna like this show."
Matt Dillon.
That spoke a lot. A lot of people don't.
I trust
A lot
him.
of people don't know John Wayne now. Now kids don't know him
They
too much
tried to-
probably, but back then, like an icon. I mean, he spoke. You listened.
John Wayne. 1966, Muhammad Ali TKO's knockout Carl Mittenberger in 12 for heavyweight boxing title. Now, I know that they don't punch each other like the Rocky movies in the face all the time, but 12 rounds, you know, if something even just kind of actually, I had my gloves up and somebody even just kind of actually kind of hit me in the face with the glove once, I say, oh, that's what this is about? I think I'm done.
12 more rounds of these?
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Better yet, go down to Mix It Up Fitness with that punching bag and just throw 10 punches in a row.
And get tired.
You're exhausted.
Yeah.
And then to do that, you know, even just
Against
protect
another
yourself
man.
and throw a punch. Yeah. Somebody your size. No fun.
No, even somebody not my size.
That's manly work there. I mean, it's just tough work.
1984, first episode of daily syndicated version of Jeopardy with Alex Trebek as host. Airs.
He had a long run, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Just until what? a year or so
2020?
ago?
2020,
ago.
I believe.
I think, yeah.
R.I.P.
All right. So here's a few national holidays, fun holidays that we've got. We've got the Farmers Consumer Awareness Day, which I'm not really sure what we're celebrating there. The
Consuming
Farmers
farmers?
Consumer Awareness? That we're aware that they're farmers,
Consumers?
consumers?
I didn't know there were people that consumed farmers.
That's what I was
Yeah.
saying,
I
yeah.
didn't know that either. I'm not really sure what that, yeah. I probably could have clicked on it to figure out a little bit more, but I said to breeze over it. There's also Free Dentistry Day. Apparently, I think people maybe that are trying to get into dentistry, they could provide free, maybe teeth cleaning and other things like that. Hudson had a free teeth cleaning. That was
Not free. I paid $35 for it.
Oh, 35.
I went to the local MATC, Madison Area Technical College, and they were doing
Go to your
teeth
local
cleaning. And I hadn't
MATC.
gone for at least 5 years. But I brushed my teeth and I floss and stuff like that. So they were surprised that my teeth were as well taken care of as they were. They were like, wow, these are pretty good.
Compared to the other folks that pay $35 to get their teeth cleaned.
Probably.
All right, we've got German Language Day.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Frau.
Jerry Springstead. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
Frau.
That'd be a,
That's a
that'd be a
great-
perfect segue.
Yeah.
Silky.
Yeah. I took 2 years of German.
Oh,
Didn't stick at all.
no.
Didn't stick at all. I mean, I can say some German
Volkswagen.
words like Volkswagen, Wiener Schnitzel, Sprechen die Deutsch, Berlin,
Guten Tag.
Dusseldorf,
Achtung.
Guten Tag, Frau, what's Sir?
I don't know.
Anyway,
yeah.
that's kind of the extent. Sorry
Von.
about that.
I took Spanish.
Von, I can say Von.
There you
Randall
go.
Von.
It's German Day.
Anyway,
Rock one.
We also have Swap Ideas Day. So we should have spent some time swapping some ideas here.
That sounds like that's this
We did about
podcast
the,
every day.
BJ brought up the
Yeah, swapping stories. Yeah.
That's true.
about the chair.
That's what BJ was. He said, "Don't tell him until the
He was
podcast,"
prepping
which is
for it. Yeah.
You just
Then we also have National TV Dinner Day.
Mm.
Oh,
Who's
TV
gonna have a
dinners.
TV dinner today?
Might have to.
I mean, when in Rome.
TV
Yeah.
dinners, those always were like growing up. Boy, if you could have a TV dinner from Swanson's, and boy, they were disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So disappointing. So disappointing.
Yeah.
The Jello was melted because you put it in the oven, and the chicken was cold inside and not very good. I mean, on TV they always made it look so good.
Yeah, so tasty.
And that's interesting though. Think about that. The TV dinner, you had to have a TV, and that became something that people, instead of eating around the table,
Right.
they started eating on TV trays. That's where those came from too.
Mm-hmm.
To
Right
have
here.
your TV dinner, yeah, and that's about the right size. You know, you have your little cup there and your napkin and
Your
stuff,
little
and then you have
tray.
your little tray of TV dinner. That's where it came from. Just a little history lesson. I'm not sure, but that makes sense to me.
Makes lots of sense. Also, not the TV dinner, but John, I remember when you'd go to lunch. Well, you guys would too. Lunchables. Oh man, we're jealous
Try
of the
one of
people
those these
that
days.
had Lunchables. You know, but you remember back like that turkey that they had.
Pepperoni.
Turkey loaf. It was.
It wasn't turkey, probably.
Now, because I'm a generation older, a lot of mothers didn't work outside the home when I was a kid. And so there wasn't two incomes, and maybe people didn't have as much disposable income. My classmate, Carl Kettlebeater, I've told you this before, he always brought a Twinkie and he would tear it open. And I can remember this day, none of us, we always had homemade cookies and bars and stuff. And he always had a Twinkie every single day. And he'd eat the top off of it. And then he'd lick the cream, and then he'd eat the bottom off of it every single time, like in our face.
That's so
Right in your face. You guys probably want this Twinkie, don't you?
Now it's almost like the opposite. Like when our youngest boys were, I don't know if this happened with you, probably not yet, but homemade things were the rave. And so you could hand somebody your homemade cookies for a sub sandwich or something from Subway. It's like, that's totally turned around.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the way it is or not. But
I would guess so. People like homemade stuff these days. It's a throwback, absolute throwback.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then this weekend, Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
That wasn't the most enthusiastic, but
They wanna
Joe's
blow
got,
our-
who he got there? You got Randall? Or no, you got Rogers.
It was Randall.
No.
Well, which is
Aaron Rodgers, number 18.
I wasn't sure. He's got an 18, doesn't he?
18.
Do you have an 18, Joe, as well?
It's 18 right there, man.
what you could do is you
Do you
could
have
just
Cobb?
do the bump, 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 bump.
I think he bought it when Cobb got traded to
Yeah, perfect timing.
the
Dallas.
Cowboys, but then he
They're
came
cheap.
back.
Yeah.
He knew.
John's got his Packer sweatshirt.
Yep.
We're really hoping he does
He came
not
home.
wear it this weekend.
I've
cursed.
We have not won a game with his sweatshirt being
Yeah,
on.
we lost,
John
we lost
still
an
wears
important
it.
playoff
John's-
game, too. We need to stop wearing that.
John's a Lions fan.
Well, not really.
He's
Well,
a jinx.
I
What
just
he
think
is.
I'm a jinx.
Yep.
That's what they think. And so I
I think
for the Packers
the evidence is pretty
For Jeff
stacked against
Yasek,
you.
and for all the Packer
You will be
backers,
taking that off today.
I'll be taking
Tomorrow.
it off and
Tomorrow.
not be wearing it tomorrow at the game.
Yeah.
For the game.
You're on probation.
I'm on probation.
Yeah.
And that's just fine.
see. We'll give you a game that we feel very comfortable that we're going to win.
Maybe
We'll
against the
let you-
Lions.
Yeah. We'll
Fair.
let you either wear that one, although that one I'm not really sure we should be wearing. Maybe you should burn that one.
Maybe you guys can buy me one.
Ooh.
A
I
Lions
don't know if we
problem.
wanna-
Put you on the
I don't
spot
know if
there.
we want to pay for our own demise.
But the problem is
Well,
if
maybe-
he wears it, if we give him permission to wear it against the Lions when they play the Lions in Detroit, that's the game that Jeff
Oh,
Yasek
no.
is
Yep.
going to, and
So we
we don't
already
want
have
them
our
to
good
lose.
luck charm.
We don't want them to lose
No,
that.
no.
Jeff will never forgive us if that happens.
So that's not the time to take your chances.
Nope.
No.
We got to think of some other time.
Yep.
All
Anyway,
right. I think we did it.
Think people will watch that?
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, there you go. 24 episodes. As you can see, as you saw, a little bit different. And that's what it's going to look like from here on out. You want your VO stuff? Go to the voiceover playlists. If you want this, check out the full podcast. Thanks, Katie Blair-Scheer, for coming and
Very nice.
being a
Yep.
guest. Thanks to the fellers for coming here and being couch potatoes and John taking Dad's spot. And thank you to the viewers for watching this. And hopefully you had a good Wild West Day weekend.
exactly.
And hopefully the Packers win this weekend.
We got one more subscriber.
And the Badgers.
We're
Badgers
moving
play
up
today.
toward 50.
Mm-hmm.
And so
on the train,
subscribe and like and do whatever else you're supposed to do. I don't understand it all, but you can do that and keep locally giving us feedback.
Yeah,
You know, like
comment on it
BJ
and
did.
stuff.
And other people do it. Katie Blair-Scheer, she mentioned she watches it all the time. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We will see you guys next time on the original Father-Son voiceover podcast. Phew, you made it through that long one. Thanks for doing that. If you're interested in more content like that, check out maybe one of these. And maybe, I don't know, click on this. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want.